So if the screen is visible, now let us start related to the PMP exam, 6 weeks program to crack the exam. And some of the tips and tricks I will inform. This is the PMP Exam Success tips and tricks. Okay. I'm S N Panigrahi. This is my profile. I'm international business consultant, corporate trainer, mentor, and author. And I'm an electrical engineer with MBA and PG diploma at TQM and ISO 9000. Over 30 years of corporate experience. And last 8 years, I'm into the consulting and training and mentoring. And I worked in various organizations, the reputed organization. And my last assignment was in HSI Limited as a VP commercial. And my domain expertise into the project management, FIDIC contracts, agile and lean project management, then Lean Six Sigma, TPM, supply chain procurement, etc. I am a certified PMP and authorized training partner, ATP instructor of PMI USA. I was in 2016 PMI India champion for 2 years. I am a fellow institution of engineers and chartered engineer and lead auditor for ISO that includes about the ISO 19000, ISO 19001, ISO 14001, and ISO 45001. And I'm also enterprise risk management practitioner and a certified Lean Six Sigma black belt from Example Global and KPMG. Certified jet consultant and lean manufacturing consultant, and also trained in a COD for 3.5 years on strategy and leadership. I deliver more than 500 workshops globally, 200 plus the YouTube presentations also there. You can go to my YouTube presentations. There's a open public for the free of cost. And also more than 150 slides or presentations are there. I publish more than 500 articles in national and international journals and various other credentials you can see. I'm also board of studies of Symbiosis Center for Distance Learning. And now let us start with very fundamental understanding why PMP. Then I'll tell you some tips and tricks how to pass the PMP exam. Okay. First, let us understand the PMP certification. It is globally recognized, highly recognized certification, industry acclaimed certificate from the PMI. Second, the career opportunities there. If you have passed the PMP exam, suppose you are certified, as per the PMI Talent Gap Report 2023, there are 2.3 million project management oriented opportunities are there by 2030. So that is what the career opportunities. And second is higher salary. As per the Project Management Salary Survey 13th edition 2023, the PMP certified are getting 33% more salary compared to non-certified. They made a survey across the 21 countries. Then abreast of the knowledge, enhance your competency, and better performance, contribute to your organization based on your knowledge, what you're gaining. And as per that, of course, your career growth will be there. Okay. And also professional network is possible because PMI has more than 300 plus chapters are there globally. And also over 600,000 PMI members are there. So therefore, the global networking is also possible if you become a member of the PMI. Okay. So this is how PMI related. So why to join a PMI as a member? If you join a PMI member, then lot of benefits are there. Some of the benefits I'll tell you. One is the discount on the PMP, the exam fee. How much your discount I'll show you from this slide. PMI website itself, you can see. And then free access to PMI standards and publication. There are n number of standards are there. These are available to you free of cost. You can download also. And free PM, the tools and templates. Then master the new skills through webinars and seminars that some of them are free and some are on paid basis but discounted. And you have a free monthly magazines also you can receive, PM Network and PM Today, PMI Today. And also we have PMI chapters are there, as I told you, 300 plus chapters are there globally. You can have an opportunity to meet the chapter members and professional networking. But please note that PMI membership is not a mandatory, but it is a voluntary. You can, if you want, you can go for the membership. Otherwise, also it is not a mandatory for appearing any of the PMI exams, including the PMP exam. Okay. And what are the benefits? As I told you, the discount and what are the various standards are there. Just I'll show you from the PMI website. Just a minute. Yeah. If you go to the pmi.org and then go to the learning column, then go to the global standards and publications, then you can have the n number of publications are there. If you become member, these you have an access. One is the PM book, project management body of knowledge, and this is the 7th edition at present. So you can have the access. And similarly, standard for the program management, standard for the earned value management, guide to the business analysis, then portfolio management, then sustainability. These also sustainability, and various other things are there. Latest publications are there. Leading and managing the AI project digital guide, and also AI related lot of other guides are there. These are latest editions. So these are the BSc AI essential for project professionals. Like this, lot of guides are there. These are all available to you. And if you become a member, these are the access. You can have the access. Okay, like this, all these are there. Okay, but as I told you, this membership is not a mandatory. But if you become member, you have the access. And also for the PMI, this exam fee concession, I'm telling. Suppose you are going to the certifications, then go to the PMP certification. All the details will be there, including the fee structure and other thing. You see, wherever you are registered, then as per the register, the currency wise it comes. I am registered in India, so Indian currency it has come. For the members, this is the fee, exam fee. For the non-members, this is the fee. Means more than 50% discount is there if you become a member. So that is an advantage. Okay. And membership is annual wise. So one time you can take, next time you can decide your choice, but you can get the PMP exam, the exam fee discount, and also the standards you have. And the networking, professional networking, these are some additional advantages you have. Now let us go for the checking your eligibility for the exam. You see, the first is your higher secondary school, means any of the graduation or the diploma. In India, for example, 3 years degree also there, and those 3 years degree also eligible for writing the exam, but 5 years experience is required in such case. For last 8 years, you must have the 60 months or 5 years experience, and 35 hours of the training is mandatory. So this is the training you have to take from any of the ATPs. Then second, if you have a 4 years degree, that is a bachelor degree, then 3 years experience is enough. Of course, the 35 hours contact training is mandatory. Okay. Then if you have a GSE accredited programs that degree have, then it's a 2 years experience is required, and in the last 8 months, and of course 35 hours of the contact training is also mandatory. So this is the eligibility criteria. Okay. Now the exam pattern. In exam, there are 3 domains are there. The business domain, 8% questions used to come from the business environment domain. Then you have the process domain, 50% questions used to come. Then about the people domain, the 42%. And these have been aligned with the PMI talent triangle. In the talent triangle, we have the business acumen, and we have a ways of working, that is 50%, that nothing but process related, technical related, and then people related, that power skills, 42% weightage. Okay. So these 3 domains are there for the exam. These are the weightages as I told you. Then the syllabus will be as per the ECO, exam content outline. The exam content outline you can download from the PMI also, PMI website. If you go to the PMI website, you see this is the exam content outline. And you can download it with the different languages also there. But what are the languages your preferences? Accordingly, you can download the exam content outline. This is nothing but a syllabus. Okay. And based on this only exam will be there. Okay. And PMI divided these three domains into 6 lessons for the training. And first lesson is about the business environment. These are the topics we are covering in the training. If you are taking the 35 hours training, these are the sessions we are covering. Lesson 2, start the project. These are the topics. Then lesson 3, this is mostly about the process oriented. And the lesson 4, mostly people oriented. Then lesson 5, of course, performance related. Then last is the closing of a project. So these are the 6 lessons are there as per the PMI for the training. Okay. And the topics comes from these 6 lessons. Okay. As per the ECO, exam content outline. And the exam pattern, just I'm telling this is an exam pattern. Effective from the 2nd January 2021. These are the question pattern. So 180 questions will be there. And all are marked questions. 230 minutes is the time frame. 230 minutes, 180 questions. Because sitting for the long, this 230 minutes is very tedious. So therefore, they provided 2 breaks. But these are the optional breaks and also scheduled breaks. Means as and when required, you can't go, but scheduled breaks. Scheduled means once you complete 1 to 60 questions, the first break. Second break will be once you complete 120 questions. Okay. So these 2 breaks are optional breaks. If you want, you can go for the break. Otherwise, you can continue with the exam. Okay. So even though you are continuing with the exam or taking the break, the effective time remains 230 minutes only. The effective time will be 230 minutes. Either you're taking the break or you're going for the break or no, not going for the break, continue with the exam. Either way, the effective time will be 230 minutes only. Okay. And one thing you have to remember, suppose you are going for a break. Suppose the first break you are taken, 1 to 60 questions you have completed, these 60 questions will be freezed. After that, you are not allowed to make any changes. Once you're going for the break, like second break you're taking 120 questions will be freezed. After that, after the taking the break, you are not able to change any of the options of the previous questions. Up to these 120 questions in the second break, first break is 1 to 60 questions. You can't change anything. Okay. So all the questions will be combination of the multiple choice questions, multiple response questions, matching type of questions, tables, and hotspot questions, and limited filling the blank questions. No negative marks. And also very importantly is about the review provision is there. If you have not have a good confidence for the option, so you can mark as a review, and before going for the break, and also at the end, if you have some time, you can call back the review questions and then you can alter. But before going for the break. And cutoff marks, most of the people may ask, what are the cutoff marks for the PMP exam? PMI never declares any cutoff marks. And you're also not getting the cutoff marks, any marks seat you're not getting. You get the grades only, not the marks. So the marks will be decided by the system itself. Based on the grade, the system will decide the pass and fail based on the difficulty level. Maybe certain times a person may be getting 80% of the questions may be true, but he is marked as a failed. But a person who got only 70% true, he may be declared a pass. So therefore, the essence of this is the system will decide based on the difficulty level. Okay, so the PMI never declares any cutoff marks. Only grades will be declared. Okay. Then exam based on the grades, as I told you, 4 grades are there: above target, target, below target, and needs improvement. We have 3 domains. For each of the domain, you will get the grades, and also you will get the overall grade. Based on the overall grade only, you will be declared as a pass or fail. Okay, means for example, in out of three, 2 domains you got above targets, but one domain you got below target. Even then, if the overall, if you get the target or above target, then you are declared as a pass. Okay, so it is not a grade means domain wise, but overall grade they take. All the 3 domains put together, the grade they estimate, then they declare the fail, pass or fail. The result will be coming immediately after the exam itself, but there is a provisional result. The result is only provisional, and of course, the final result will come within 5 working days. Okay. Then exam you can take from the any of the places. Either you can go to the prescribed centers and write the exam physically, or you can take online from your home or office or any other place other than the prescribed centers. In both the cases, it is being administered through Pearson view. Okay. So the exam, as I told you, if you are going from the center, then you have to book the slot. Based on the available slot only you can take. But if you are going from the other than the center, 24 into 7, anytime you can book the slot. Okay. And one things I will want to tell, if you're writing other than the center, lot of restrictions also there. Many people are complaining they are facing certain difficulties because the internet maybe connectivity is poor, or any breakage happens, it is your loss, your risk. Or certain times, if any the noise is coming which you can't control, for example, your neighbors, there is some function, some lot of noise is there, and then also the PMI give the warning, the system will give the warning. If you are not mandated for the second warning also, then automatically the exam will be closed. So therefore, it is your loss. Or sometimes how it happened in the room also, that must be isolated. No other person has allowed in the room. Suppose your children, your parents, or your spouse, somebody enters, then also warning comes. So if you are able to maintain these things, manage these things, then is of course you can write from home. Otherwise, my advice is go to the center and write the exam. Okay. Then exam pattern already I told you: multiple choice questions, multiple response questions, choose 2 or 3. Then matching type of tables will be there. Then hotspot. Then limited fill in the blank questions. So this is how the exam pattern. Any doubts? Of course, you are always welcome to discuss. Any doubts up to now?
Hello, sir.
Okay, it's going well. Okay, good.
Yeah, can I ask a doubt? Hello.
Yeah, please.
Sir, that 35 hours of training, right? Classroom
Hmm.
training, which is
Hmm.
required to complete the PMP exam, right?
Uh-huh.
So,
Yes.
how long is that valid? Like, once you completed the training, what is the time within which we need to take up the exam? Is there any limit?
Actually, after training, you're supposed to make an application. Once the application is approved, it's 1 year. The period is there. Within the 1 year, you can write the exam. But that is after your application been accepted by the PMI. But you're talking about you're taking a training, but even application made or not, that is a question. You have made the application or not?
No, sir. Application is not made. Just the training is completed.
When you are completed?
A year back.
Okay, year back is completed. It is your luck only you try, but otherwise I can't say anything. Okay, because immediately after the training, you're supposed to do, but you try it. Okay, because they restrict
Okay.
within 1 year. Within 1 year,
Yeah. Okay.
it is more than 1 year talking. It is your luck. You try. Okay,
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
okay, then fine.
Thank you.
So The exam study plan. Study plan for here.
Develop a strategy.
So I will tell you the strategy, what is that. But before that, one more thing I want to tell. Once you completed the 35 hours of the contact training, there is a mandatory requirement. After that, you make the application. At the time of the application, you need not pay anything. Exam fee need not be paid at the time of application. First, you make the application. At that time, you need not also attach any of the documents. Just on the self declaration, you make the application, and the application within 5 working days they respond. Within 5 working days they will respond. In case they accepted, it is okay. Otherwise, your application also subject to audit by the random audit. Some of the application may go for the audit, some may not be. Okay. In case it goes for the audit, they also respond and tell you what are the additional documents has to be attached and what are the references are required. All these things they inform. So accordingly, you have to fulfill all those requirements. Then it may take some time also, 1 month to 2 months, like it can take. Okay. So the applications are the subject to random audit. Which application goes for the audit, nobody knows. Okay. And application filing also very carefully you have to do, because application, there are 4 sections are there. First is about your personal details. Second, your education. Third is about your experience. The experience only most of the people make the wrong, because experience is non-overlapping experience you have to declare. And 3 years experience, for example, you have 4 years degree, then 3 years experience is required in the last 8 years only. In the last 8 years period, that 3 years of experience you should have. Okay. So that is carefully you have to observe, and accordingly you have to make the your experience. In the experience also, what is the specific project, and project, what is your title or what is your role, and what is your contribution. These things are you have to highlight. What is the project, and what is your role in the project, and what is your contribution. And of course, you have to mention the time period also, from and to, month wise, from to, the period also project you have to mention. If any multiple projects are there, you have to ensure that there is no overlapping, because overlapping, only one project they consider, the other project overlapping period will not be considered. So these things you have to understand. Accordingly, application you have to make for the experience. The fourth one is about your training certification. Okay. So these are the 4 things are required. You have to fill the application. At the time of application, there is no need for the making the payment. But once your writing been selected, means after the application selected, then within 1 year, you are eligible to write for the exam. At that time, of course, you have to make the payment. The slot has to be selected accordingly. As per the slot, the payment has to be made. Then you have to write the exam. Okay. So that is how the exam application related. Okay. Now let us understand your study plan.
Develop a strategy that suits you. What is the best strategy for the exam? There is no one-size-fits strategy that works for everyone. Different people have different levels of education backgrounds, experience and exposure to projects. Everyone has his or her own way of understanding, absorbing and learning abilities and styles. Also, everyone has not the same level timelines and schedules to spare time for the exam preparation. Some may prefer textual reading, whereas others may like visual mode of learning or audio visuals. Some others may take written notings while learning. There are others who study best in a group, whereas others may prefer individual learning by their own. So, the best way to crack PMP exam is to understand your strengths and weaknesses as well as your study styles and convenience of timelines. Try different approaches in your study preparations and mock PMP tests and settle with one that works the best for you and suits you.
Okay. So that is where no one strategy is there, one size strategy for all the people. Different people have different type of approaches. The style of preparations, or the learning, or the time frame also very important, because some of them are working professionals and their busyness in the work field. That is how you have to tailor this to your specific requirements. Okay. Next, the exam preparations.
PMP exam preparations. Give yourself around 2 to 3 months for preparation for PMP exam. This is enough time if you are able to study 3 hours per day. Schedule your exam date and chase behind it. If targets are fixed, then the positive anxiety within you propels motivating force that puts your thoughts, actions and efforts in right direction. Why then wait? Put in all our efforts for 2 to 3 months to add prestigious PMP tag to your name and remember for lifelong.
So my advice is 2 to 3 months for the working professionals, who maybe some busyness also I'm taking into consideration. So 2 to 3 months. And those who want to make a fast track, they can even complete in 6 weeks. Means 1.5 months around, they can complete. Okay. It's not so difficult exam, but tricky exam. But you have to spend a lot of time for the preparations, mock test and all thing you have to prepare. Based on your preparations, your confidence, you can write the exam. Okay.
When to take PMP exam. Start your journey of PMP exam preparations once you decided to take 35-hour contact classes. Going through formal training.
Yes, sir.
When to take PMP exam. Start your journey of PMP exam preparations once you decided to take 35-hour contact classes. Going through formal training courses and education can help refresh your foundations. This will greatly help to recapitulate lessons learned during class when your memories are reasonably fresh. Based on this, you can build a strong foundation and refresh your learning. While your learning curve is at the peak, start journey of PMP preparations seriously and schedule your exam. You may remember subjects learned for 1 or 2 weeks, unless refreshed again. Then after generally, your memory may fade out. If you start PMP preparations immediately, will also help you identify any weak areas that you need to focus your studies. So, wisely decide your course of action before you lose the grip of the subjects learned. When to take PMP exam. Ideal time to take PMP test is within 2 to 3 months after training classes.
So this is ideal, but as I told you, those who want to take a fast track, within 6 weeks also they can complete. But taking into consideration of the working professional and certain the working schedules and busyness, I have taken into 2 to 3 months. Of course, a lot of practice he has to do. So therefore, we have to consider this framework.
Practice, practice, practice. More you practice, more confidence you will gain. PMP exam questions are mostly scenario-based. Practice questions can help you apply theoretical knowledge to various scenarios, and help you identify different question types and the best strategies to tackle them. Take full mock tests. Apart from practicing question and answers, as per your convenience of time, you also need to take full mock tests, at least 2 or 3, each 180 questions. This will test your stamina required to sit continuously for this extended exam period of 230 minutes. Mock tests will also help you monitor your progress and tailor your test-taking strategy.
Okay. More you practice, more confidence will be there. What type of questions used to come, you can understand. What are the tricks that also you can understand. Okay. And while you're making the practice of the questions, the explanation also there. There you can understand what are the trick and tips, and you can understand from there.
Noting down keywords or phrases. Different people have different ways and styles of learning. Since the course content of PMP is heavy and you have to memorize various key concepts, terminologies, processes, tools etc., therefore, it is strongly advised to note down keywords or phrases with your understanding, while reading or preparing for the exam. This will help you to remember for a long time and able to recollect easily in the PMP exam. This is a very success technique to crack the PMP exam. Some of examples are Project Charter, Keywords Approval Note, Delphi Technique, Keyword Anonymous, Affinity Diagram, Keyword Grouping, Pareto Diagram, Keywords Prioritization or 80/20 Rule, WBS Dictionary, Keywords Summary Notes of Work Packages.
So keywords writing, I recommend strongly. While you are making the preparations, start writing for each of the phrases or some of the concept related. Write the keywords so that it will help you a lot. For example, the baseline. Baseline is an approved version, and this is the reference point for the execution as well as for monitoring and controlling. For example, the iteration or the sprint is a time boxed. is a fixed time frame. So like this, you understand the keywords, then it is very easy to answer the questions. Okay. And of course, one more thing I'll tell you, there is no need to by heart the definition.
Focus and learn Agile concepts. Though specifically not mentioned anywhere by PMI, a lot of Agile-related questions are appearing in the PMP exam with new pattern with effective from the 2nd of January 2021. The new PMP exam content will cover 50% predictive approach and 50% Agile and hybrid approach across all three exam domains. That means, around half of the questions on the new exam pattern are based on Agile and hybrid approaches. Therefore you must have both knowledge and experience of what it's like to work in these environments. So, focus your efforts on Agile concepts.
Okay. As per the ECO, exam content outline, they clearly mentioned that a new pattern of the PMP exam content cover the 50% of the predictive approaches and around say 50% of the agile or hybrid. But in the of late, we are finding, because they're talking approx around 50%. But it need not be always just around 50% only, plus or minus some 5 to 10% can happen. So more of the questions nowadays coming towards the agile. So you can expect around say 60% of the questions on the agile and 40% around say from the predictive. That is just I'm talking about around concept. So around 50% is there, but of late more of the questions are tilted towards the agile. So therefore you have to focus more on the agile concepts also.
Practicing question and answers. The most important PMP exam preparation activity is to practice as many sample questions as you possibly can. Maybe more than practicing 1,000 questions. Following are some of the tips while practicing. First, study the relevant chapter or selected topic or subject from the course material or any other standard reference guides. You may refer to summary notes available at PMP, Rapidex, Pass at First Attempt, an easy reference guide for PMP exam by S N Panigrahi. So you will have basic understanding of the subject and the concepts. Once you gained a reasonable understanding of the subject, only then after start practicing Q&As. In the initial stages of learning, do not bother for score. If you are not answered correctly, not to worry. Take this as an opportunity to learn why you are wrong and what is the correct answer. Learn the subject, concept and logic behind it. This way your learning will be strengthened. This will provide you solid foundation of conceptual and logical understanding of the subject to pass the
PMP exam. You see, more you practice, of course, more confidence will be there. You can understand the concept, and there's no need for the by-hearting any of the definitions or exactly reproducing. All the questions are scenario-based questions. So you have to more practice. Early stages of your practice, for example, even though you're not getting the good score, nothing to worry about because that is only learning stage. But in the learning stage, even though some questions are right or the wrong also, not to worry, but to try to understand why your options is wrong and what the correct option and why that correct option. The logic, the concept understanding must be there. Like this, if you're preparing, then it will be more understandable. You can understand the concepts, and because the exam, they test your conceptual understanding and practical approach. They're not testing your memory power, what you are by-hearted or what you remember to reproduce, but they test your conceptual understanding.
PMP exam reference books. Prepare well for the PMP exam. You refer quality PMP exam reference books, the PMBOK guide, and other books and practice sample questions. Some of them are PMP Exam Prep by Rita Mulcahy, PMP Rapidex, Pass at First Attempt, an easy reference guide for PMP exam by S N Panigrahi. Head First PMP, a learner's companion to passing the Project Management Professional exam by Jennifer Green. The PMP exam, How to Pass on Your First Try by Andy Crow. PMP Practice Exam, JLH McGraw-Hill. PMP Exam Prep 1000 Questions Answers and Explanation by Christopher Scordo. Essential Scrum, a practical guide to the most popular Agile process by Kenneth S. Rubin. Agile Practice Guide, PMI. PMI ACP Exam Prep by Mike Griffiths, 2nd edition.
So these are some of the recommended books, but not just these, sir. As per your convenience, as per your availability and other thing, you can select whatever may be books. But take the standard books, and from the standard books, each of the chapter wise, there are some question answers will be there, and chapter summary also there. First, go to the chapter summary, understand the summary, and understand the concept of that chapter, and then you can practice chapter wise. While you're practicing at the early stages, make the chapter wise practicing so that you understand what is the concept under the chapter and what type of questions may come. You can practice accordingly. Okay.
PMP is not so difficult exam, but it is tricky exam. The way the words are phrased in the PMP questions make you confuse. Deliberately PMI introduces some confusing elements. If you know the tips and tricks of the PMP exam and practice a lot of mock tests, then it is not difficult to pass the exam. Let us discuss here some of tips and tricks to make you answer questions correctly and pass the exam confidently.
Okay, PMI exam, as I told you, is not so difficult exam, but definitely it's a tricky exam. Almost like 50% or 60% questions looks like very easy, and other questions little bit tricky. That determines your pass or fail. So that most of the people can score almost like 60% very easily, but other questions determine your pass or fail. So the tricks you have to understand to ensure that you are passed. Okay. So you see the questions, some of the questions may be direct questions, but most of the questions are scenario based indirect questions, not direct questions they'll ask, but indirectly means scenario based, the questions will be there. Very rarely nowadays coming with the formula and mathematical questions, not so, very rarely coming, one or two, or that two very simple questions, not much of the mathematical things are there. Okay. Interpersonal questions also, a lot of questions used to come, and then professional and social responsibility, ethics related also some questions used to come. Okay. And many times you can use your common sense also to make the correct answers. Reading the content, understand the context, then applying your concepts, and of course your common sense. The 4C formula is very powerful. Accordingly, you can make this application of this. Read the content very carefully, because the confusion always in the content itself. They create deliberately certain confusing element in the content. So understand the content and context. These two things are very essential. Then concept and common sense. Okay. Some situation questions, as I told you, most of the questions are situation based questions. Then you have to understand the key situation, the reading the content carefully. And many times the questions comes like what the project manager has to do. They describe certain scenario, or certain problem, or certain issues. Then they're expecting as a project manager what you have to do and what you have to do first. Many times the 4 options are there, for example, in a question MCQ. But out of the 4 options, all the 4 options looks like true. But what you do first is very important to understand. That way it is confusing. So many things you have to do. All the options you may be supposed to do, but which are the option you have to do first, or which are the option you have to do next. Like these questions are very tricky, so you have to be carefully understand and accordingly write the question, select the question options. Okay, and some of them let us practice. Okay, so this is the question. You can give your answers in a chat box also. You can give your answer in the chat box. Here very simple, because they are asking what is the characteristic of a project. Here you see many people, they jump, for example, you are jumping in the temporary endeavor, but read the option very carefully. read the option very carefully because this is the confusing questions. Little bit element they make, very simple concept, not a great concept. But reading the content, understanding the context is very important. Okay. So here, work without defined object. Every project has a defined objectives, but here they told without. So without is not true. So therefore, the A option is eliminated. Then the B is all the activities supposed to take in a single location. Project need not be all the project. The activities can take in single location. For example, you are developing a software. Software after the development you can deploy in different locations. It need not be one single location. So therefore, this need not be so eliminated. A set of activities with a specific allocation resources. Yes, it is a very means a correct answer because it is a project has a set of activities. Every activity consumes certain resources, the financial resources and also human resources, and also it requires materials or the infrastructure or the software like that. So the C is looks like very sensible, but the D you see it's a temporary endeavor true, but without defined set of activities not true. So therefore, some people made is a D option, but be careful in taking the options. You see, here the C is the correct answer, but D is temporary endeavor true, but with a defined set of activities only, not without. Okay, so without is not true, so therefore D is eliminated. Okay, so that is why in questions it looks like very simple. What is the project? A very fundamental question. But when the option selections, we are making certain wrong options also because reading the content and options are very important. Understanding is very important. Okay, good. Next one. Here, this is the multiple response question. Earlier one is multiple choice questions where there are four options are there. One best option you have to select. But here we have to select the two best options. Okay. So this is called multiple response questions. What is your option? What is an option? Two options you have to take. What about others? Okay, let us understand this one. First one, of course, in the definition of the project itself is there. Every project creates a unique a product or the service result or the combination. So therefore, A is true. A is true. But out of these four, one more we have to select. Let us understand the B. B is talking to address the deficiencies in the organization and improve the processes. Up to this, it is a very good objective. Suppose in operation, we have a low efficiency or the low productivity. To improve the efficiency and productivity, we can initiate new project. So therefore, to improve the process or the deficiencies, definitely you are starting a project. So that is a good purpose. But later they talking about and manage ongoing activity. This is not true. The up to this is the B. Up to this is true. Address the deficiencies and improve the process is true. But managing the ongoing activities, this is not true. So therefore, this option is partly true, not fully eliminated. Second, C is the execute the strategy of the organization and drive change. This is a wonderful objective. Every project we are initiating to align with our strategy. So strategic alignment is very basic essence of any of the project. The second is every project brings certain change in the organization. Every project brings some change in the organization. So therefore, the C looks like very sensible. Now D is talking to create a value for the organization and obtain benefit. Up to this, of course, very beautiful objective. But later they're talking to the internal stakeholders only. This is not true. So therefore, we are eliminated. The E we are talking about E is to identify the needs of the stakeholders and develop strategy to address them. This is looks like mostly the process oriented, not the objective. Here we are talking the what is the purpose or objective of the project. So therefore, when you are making this, sorry. Sorry. So here when you're making the E is after the project is started, definitely we can identify and develop the strategy. But here we are talking the purpose of the project. When you make the comparison of the C and E, C is most prominent because it is talking of the execute the strategy, because every project is aligned with the strategy, strategic objectives and goals of the organization, and also brings a change in the organization. Every project brings some change or drive certain change or create certain value for the organization. So therefore, when you make the comparison of the E and C, C is most prominent. So we are taking the C. So we are now settling with A and C. Okay. E and C are the correct answers. Okay. These are taken for very authentic sources. Yes, Mr. Mike.
So in the case of this with an exam, with the PMI, with the PMP exam, would you get 50% of the answer right in this case, or would it be considered wrong?
No, actually, you see, even though the option is, suppose you are talking one option is A is true and other is not true.
Correct.
Both the options are true, then only this is considered as a true. Suppose you have made A and E, but it's not true because only one is true, but other is not true. But both the options must be true, then only this is as a question, it will be true or wrong.
Okay.
Only true when we consider both are true. Okay, fine.
Okay.
There is no 50% marks and nothing. Both are true, then only this question is taken as true. Okay,
Okay.
fine, sir. Fine. Next question. Yes, sir. Here only one option you have to select. Multiple choice question. Okay, here one by one, let us understand. Then operational work should not be included in the portfolio. Portfolio, what is a portfolio? Portfolio is a collection of either related or unrelated projects, programs, or even operations also. So operations also may be part of the portfolio. So therefore, A is not true. Here you are talking should not be included in the portfolio. No, portfolio, the operation also may be part of the portfolio. So therefore, we are eliminating A. Okay. Then B, operational work should be included in the program. No, program is only related projects only. No operations is there. Program is only related projects. So therefore, no operation. So eliminated. And C, project managers should be concerned about the operational work. We are differentiated project and operation. Operations are repetitive activities. Project are unique endeavors having certain objectives. Unique endeavor means there is a starting date and end date. And every project has some unique product or the service we have to deliver, either goods or services. Okay, tangible or intangible. So therefore, C is eliminated. The project manager has to look after the project related activities. Operational manager has to look after the operation related activities. So therefore, C is eliminated. Finally, the E and the D is correct answer. Okay. So like this, you have to differentiate, understand the concepts. Even though your answer is true, most of your written are true, you have to understand little going for the subject. Don't prescribe the one advice I tell you. Don't fix the time at the time of learning. Even one question, you can spend 5 minutes also, but going to the subject, learn the subject. That way, if you are learning, that will be more effective. It is not just about the numbers, how many questions you have practiced, but each of the question, how you can able to grasp the concept. That is very important. So therefore, even the one question, either it's true or wrong, but don't stop there. Go to the subject, understand what is the portfolio and what is the program, then what is the project. I used to tell with examples like this, with the visuals. The portfolio is underlining is related or unrelated, either projects or programs or operations also. Like this, immediately don't stop there. You go to with what is the program portfolio management. Then also you have to understand what is the program and what is the program management, project management. With an example, for example, I used to give the examples in our classes like this. Like this, you are telling the portfolio. There are different divisions, and these oil and gas projects may or may not related to power projects. May or may not. Similarly, power project may or may not related to road projects. But under the power project division, we have a different projects are running, and because of the common objectives, or because of the dependencies, or because of the common use of the technology or resources or the some facilities, these are related projects. And these related projects we call the program. And similarly, under water projects, these are again water project 1 and water project 2. There may be certain dependency or certain common objectives or certain common use of the resources or the technology or the facilities. So therefore, these are called as related projects. These related projects called as a program. So like this, I used to give the examples. You have to refer to the subject. Even one question you are attempting, don't jump with one question 1 minute like that. But you have to start one question, but understand very clearly related to that question, what are the terms and terminologies, that concept you have to understand. So go to the subject. Even you are spending 5 minutes for one question also advisable at the learning stage. Okay, because of the time short, I am giving the explanation. Okay. Here is they're talking the initial design sign off and the change request come. Okay. Means it is already the initial design is signed, means that scope is freezed. The scope is freezed. Then after some change request is come. They submitted some change request. Then there is a proposal is they want to bring some improvements so that it quality improve by 15%. But the delays happens by 1 week. Then as a project manager, what you have to do first? The first is very important. Many things you can do later on, but what you do first, that is very important. This type of questions you have to be carefully understand. Okay. And escalate the change to the control board immediately. No. After that, of course, it escalate later on, but not the first step. Analyze the impact is very important. Understand what is the impact on the scope. Schedule also they mentioned out 1 week, but schedule alone is not enough. You have to understand what the impact and the cost also. All the other resources, are the any of the risks are there. So that is you have to analyze. So then only you have to send to the request to the CCB, not immediately. Then reject the change as it's beyond the baseline, because baseline is what is signed off. There is a plan. So you're rejecting. No, many times in the project, some changes can happen. So whenever the changes are there, you have to follow certain procedure. Then accordingly, you have to get the change approved by the CCB, change control board. Then you have to proceed. But you can't reject it. So C is eliminated. Then implement the change to maintain the stakeholder satisfaction. No, you can't maintain because you are not author, or because it's a plan driven approach. This is the predictive lifecycle approach, because the design is signed off, very clearly talking. So therefore, it is a predictive approach. Sorry. So it is a predictive approach. So therefore, in the predictive approach, the project manager doesn't have the authority after the plans are approved for making any changes. If any changes are required, they has to go to the change control board after the impact assessment, and based on the impact assessment only they have to recommend to the change control board. Then change control board is an authority, they can approve. Okay, but first step here, the first step is they're talking very important. So first you have to analyze the impact, then you have to approach the change control board. Okay. Here also again, understand the content and context. Here the contest is during the sprint execution, that is the contest. Okay, and adding 3 critical features. The team is already committed to sprint scope. This again the contest. Content and context you have to understand. Then what, as a project manager, generally most of the questions as a project manager, how to address the problem, or what you have to do first, or what you have to do next, or what you have to ignore. So these type of questions used to come, because they expect as a project manager, you are a project manager, how you are addressing the situation. Okay. So here, of course, B is correct answer. Okay. The sprint commitment in Agile, once the sprint goal is been committed, the goal is defined, the goal remain constant, and whenever the changes are required, the changes will go to the product backlog, and the sprint backlog, that is scope for the sprint will not be changing. Okay, so that's the concept you have to understand very clearly. Okay. So this type of questions many times they create, means they give this issue or the problem or some situation they describe, and as a project manager, how you have to address, or how you have to do, what you have to do, how do you have to improve the situation, like this question used to come. So here, of course, they see, because as I told you, time constraint, I'm not explaining everything, but I'm giving a tips what type of questions used to come. Okay. Similarly, like this, for example, and what the Scrum Master advice means, as you have to feel like you are like a Scrum Master, or you are like a project manager, or the product owner. Like that, you have to feel yourself, because situations are always practical situations. This type of practical situation they tell, then answer has to be given. So
Decision making.
Certain times decision making questions are there. Let us understand, then I'll give some question.
Decision making. As a project manager, you have to take a lot of decisions. In the PMP exam, there are many questions that tests your conceptual understanding about decision making. Here are some of the tips. Relay decision making on fact-based. Don't go with bias or on somebody's telling. Postponing or differing or avoidance or ignoring doesn't provide a solution, so avoid such options. Select option which provides appropriate solution. Concrete decision with logical or scientific approach. Project manager needs to understand the situation and the context. Option with a workable solution is the best choice. Prefer the option where there is collective decision making involving team. Escalating issues or last resort. As a project manager, try to solve issues and problems as far as possible within your scope.
Okay, so these are some of the tips for the decision making. Some decision making questions like this, for example, a new mandatory regulatory compliance standard required now, which was originally not taken, which is impacting the specifications and the viability of the key deliverables currently under the development. So that type of problem or issue are created. Now, as a project manager, how you are addressing the issue. Now you have to take certain decision. Okay. So like this question, like for example, the questions may come, submit the formal change request. And many other also looks like very appropriate, but correct answer you have to select. Okay. Means which is most appropriate in the given situation, understanding the content and context you have to understand and answer. So the decision making questions.
Questions with conflicting situations or options. Many times there may be multiple options looks very near to the correct answer, but they may not be completely true. May be partially true. In such situations you have to select the more appropriate option. More accurate one. When there is conflicting issues, then go with most accurate method or approach. Go with actual data or information. Rejection is the best process of selection. When you are not very sure.
Some other options also looks like true, but most appropriate option you have to select. So here is the B. A option also looks like a true, but here too, you see the daily scrum meeting was only a short meeting of 15 minutes. And we're not encouraging to go on problem solving and technical detailing and all things. No. For this, we may conduct separate meetings, but the daily scrum meeting is only a short meeting of maximum 15 minutes. So therefore,
Answer questions backed by facts. Reference to relevant documents, fact-finding. Any issue about any conditions of the contract, refer to contract or agreement. Quality-related, refer to quality matrix. Requirement-related, requirement matrix. Acceptance criteria, quality matrix. Scope statement, WBS dictionary.
so like this, fact-based decisions you have to take. When are the documents to refer, which document you have to refer, that you have to understand. Okay. Some example. There is a conflict with the customer now, because the customer telling some of the requirements are not meeting his essential that specification and his requirement, for example. There is a conflict. Then which document you have to refer first? The scope statement, or the project charter, or the contract agreement, or business case. So in such cases, which is the appropriate document you have to understand? The C is the contract agreement is appropriate. And certain times the scope statement people talks about, but the scope statement is internal document. Very clearly we have to understand which are the document relevant. The contract agreement only with the customer and ourselves, we have agreed and signed the document. So therefore the C is the most appropriate. Scope statement is our internal document, not with the customer. Okay, so that way we have to understand and differentiate.
PMP exam doesn't test your memory power. No direct questions appear in the exam. Simply, memory dumping will not work out. You need not by heart subject, definitions, formulae, and other processes to reproduce in the exam. Almost all the questions are scenario-based. Questions are framed to test your knowledge and conceptual understanding of project management. You have to understand the context of the question, relate the concept and apply common sense or practical experience to answer. However, you have to logically remember some key processes, important tools and deliverables.
Okay.
Do not break the law. S and ethics. In the PMP exam there may be some questions where there are some emergency situations. Even in any compelling and emergency situations, do not break the laws, statutory regulations, company policies, ethics and professional conduct. Always have positive outlook. Options abiding by law only has to select. Synchronize your thinking with the PMI guidelines. There will be many questions that require you to synchronize your thinking with the PMI guidelines. Do not assume or presume beyond the context of the question. Confine to the given situation. You have to select best option considering given context or situation in the question.
Some example like this. So in this example, you see, the project manager is leading the high-stake infrastructure project. There is non-negotiable quality standard related. Define the quality management plan. Requires using a specific high-grade materials. But these high-grade materials now not available because of the due to sudden global supply chain disruption. That materials is no longer available in the market and using the alternative. So this type of situations, sometimes, like for example, we are talking the, approve a substitute material. Substitute looks like a good option, like, but ethically we have to consider as a law also as per the contractual agreement what we have with the customer, that obligations are there. We can't take just a simple other alternatives and all thing, but the B is in this case is looks like properly. So the B is taken here. Okay. Other options also, why is not there? Unethical practices or conflicting situations. We have to go, even the conflicting situation, we have to go with the laws only. And as per the agreements, we have to go as per the standard which are there, means universal standards and all things, which are ethically, you have to follow those things, comply with those things. So that has to be followed. Okay.
Negative phrase questions. Many PMP questions have negative phrasing which certain times confuse you or takes longer time to answer. Negative phrase questions like, which is not correct? Which one is false? Which is not true? Double negative questions. None of the following are true except the question really mean, which one of the following is correct? None of the following are false except the question really mean, which one of the following is false? All are correct except the question really mean, which one of the following is false?
So like these questions, confusing certain times single connotation or negative connotation, certain times double negative connotations. All are true except, all are not true except. So like these questions are there, little confusing. So we have to be careful. So some example here, for example, here we are talking which of the following actions is the least preferred. So least is very important connotation we have to understand. So accordingly we have to write. Okay. So here it is C, because time constraint, I'm not going to explain further. So another question is, all of the following actions are appropriate except. So the except is a negative connotation here. So like that you have to understand carefully. Okay. Some questions may be in this category. Okay.
Mark.
Yeah. If you have any doubt for any of the question, if you're not very confident, then there's a provision is there to mark question as a review. And before going for the break, you can call the review questions and you can alter if you want. Okay. But before going for a break, okay, that is very important. But this option also there, you can exercise when you are not very confident or some doubts are there, then you can exercise this option, review option. Okay. Then cutoff marks, as I told you, there is no cutoff marks they declare, and only grades. Overall grade wise, they decide, the system will decide. Okay. So based on the difficulty level, the system will decide pass or fail.
PMP pass at first attempt 6C success formula. Content. Study and cover entire subject content of eco. Concept. Have clarity of concepts. Concentrate. Focus and concentrate on key words. Context. Understand context of the question. Common sense. Use common sense. Common sense is combination of your IQ plus experience plus intuition. Confidence. Have confidence on the day of exam.
So these are the 6C I used to tell. Whenever you're going for the subject learning, what are the books and all thing I referred something, what are the as per your choice you can go. But the essence is always you keep it ECO, exam content outline. That is syllabus. So based on the syllabus, you try to cover the content. All the subjects you have to cover as per the ECO. Okay. Next is concept understanding. Have a clarity of the concept. With the keywords, writing is very essential. If you write down the keywords, then lot of questions you can accurately answer. Almost like I'm guaranteeing you 20 to 30% questions easily you can answer with accuracy, 100% accuracy, if you are knowing the keywords. So while you are reading any of the textbooks or any of the subject materials, start writing the keywords. So that will be helpful to you. Easily also can remember for the long time. Then understand the question, the context, content, context, concept, and the common sense. This is an approach. 4C we call it. Content, you read the content carefully of the question, understand the context, then of course your common concept, then common sense. Okay. And last around say 2-3 days, don't be excessively pressured with a lot of practicing and reading and all. Little bit relax, easy taking, refreshing. Because many things are read, many things are noted down, many of the notebooks and all things are done. But those things you try to refresh. But don't take excessively new things and all things, unnecessarily pressure it. So relax. So have a confidence. Okay.
3D formula. This is a very powerful formula, applicable in many aspects of life. First D, desire. Have a strong desire or dream to achieve something great in our life. This is a compelling force internally propels and motivates to get your target. Here in this case have strong desire to add prestigious PMP tag to your name. Second D, determination. Have strong willpower. Yes, I will win attitude. When you determine, all your energy concentrates and directs all your efforts unidirectional to achieve your objectives and cherished dreams. So, have a strong determination to pass the PMP exam. Third D, dedication. Of course, once you determine to achieve, put in and dedicate maximum possible time and efforts. For PMP exam preparation, you have to dedicate at least 3 hours daily for around 2 to 3 months. Once adopted 3D formula, then be committed to your goal. Practice, practice, practice. There is no shortcut to success. Especially, to succeed in PMP exam you have to study a variety of study materials, practice a lot of mock tests. Most of you must be working professionals. Despite your daily busy schedules, you have to carve out some time for PMP exam preparations. Manage your time well, schedule your preparations, trust in yourself. Once you believe in ourselves, then you have a confidence. You gain strength and courage. Encouraged to move forward in a right direction. Confidence is a greatest success key in your hand. So, have a confidence, reach out to the exam, write the exam, then confidently move out with success. Good luck, all the best, God bless you.
Okay. So the time management last I cover because time is exceeding. I don't spend much time. The last is how to manage the time for the exam. Okay. So let us understand time management.
Time is very crucial deciding factor of results. Time is really constrained and within limited time frame of 230 minutes, you have to answer 180 questions. Most of the questions are very lengthy, scenario-based and time-consuming. Faster reading, grasping the concept and answering is very essential. So, managing time is very important. In this
So now next slide I will tell you.
Reaching to write PMP exam while scheduling your PMP exam, make sure your test time, slot, is convenient to you and when usually you're the most active and productive. Avoid taking the test at times when you usually have a meal or take a nap. In case you are taking the exam at the center, reaching the center 45 to 60 minutes before the test is ideal to complete the formalities. Your test center might allow you to begin your test earlier than your scheduled time if you're ready for it. Even in case of online test, 1 hour before make sure your system is working perfectly, and connectivity is okay. On the day of your PMP exam, make sure you're well rested with a good night's sleep. On the day of your PMP exam, make sure you have a light but nutritious food. Positive anxiety is okay, but stay active without overexerting yourself, or worrying too much before your test. Carry something to eat like a protein bar and an energy drink to have in your breaks. Arriving on exam day with confidence means half the battle is already won. Balance the time in the PMP exam. During the PMP exam, be relaxed. Keeping a relaxed mind will help you stay focused during the exam. Relaxed mind increases your chances of scoring more. Easier it will be to recall information, manage time, and answer 180 questions on the exam. Here let's discuss some time management tips during the exam. When you start with your login details, there appears exam instructions. This will continue for 15 minutes recommended to go through. Then after exam starts, there will be a timer, which runs backwards starting from 230 minutes. You may come across questions that you will solve within seconds. However, some questions may drag to longer time. Balance your time. Divide your exam 230 minutes into 3 slots. In each slot you will target to complete 60 questions. First slot 70 minutes, second slot 75 minutes and third slot 85 minutes. First slot deliberately kept less time, since your mind is relatively fresh. Efficiency and productivity will be high. Try to maximize your speed. Second slot in the increasing order kept for 75 minutes. In the third slot, you may be little bit tired and the anxiety levels may be relatively higher, so longer time is allotted deliberately. First slot keep for 70 minutes. Try to solve first 60 questions, including review and acceptance for break. Take 10 minutes break. Then start second slot. Take 61 to 120 questions in 75 minutes. Complete review questions also. Take 10 minutes break. In the third slot, take 121 to 180 questions in 85 minutes. By now all the 230 questions answered. Submit and wait for result.
Then mark for the review.
Mark questions for review. Don't waste too much time on a single.
Okay, this already I told you. But the essence of it, as I told you, here the 3 slots you break it. First slot, 1 to 60 questions. Fasten this because at the early time, your mind is very fresh, so that you can do faster. Maximize in this slot. That is why 70 minutes, but 1 to 60 questions are mentioned. Next one, little bit increased. But break is, I recommend take the breaks because these are the voluntary, means it is not a mandatory breaks, but as per your convenience, if you want, you can take your choice, optional breaks. But either taking the break or not taking the break, the effective time will not be changing. The effective time will be 230 minutes only. Okay. So if you take the break, little bit you can relax, and emergencies and all things can attend, and also energy drink and all things you can take. Okay. So this is the time management. With this, of course, I'm not going further. Time is slightly exceeded. So please go ahead. Okay. Lastly, as I told you, the 3D formula. If you have a strong desire and the drive or the dream, that will profile. That is a more positive motivation, internal drive. Okay. So have a strong desire, want to have your PMP certifications, because this is very means a very reputed certification, and your career growth and all things is possible, as already I told you in the early stage. So have a strong dream to have your certification, PMP certification, and the determination. Yes, I will win. That yes, I will win is a very positive tone, which will drive internally for you the motivation. That will propel for efforts. So have a strong determination. Then dedication. The dedication of your time, your dedication, your efforts is very essential. PMA exam is not so easy exam, but at the same time, it's not so difficult also. But lot of dedicated efforts are required. And if you put the dedicated effort, definitely you pass the exam. All the best. Thanks a lot. With this, we are closing. Any doubts are there? Any doubts? Okay, no doubts. Then we are going to close because I have another program also there. So we are closing now the session. All the best. Thanks a lot.